Hello, I'm Mark Hall-Patton. I want to welcome you to the Clark County Museum. Now, when you come out to the museum, of course, you'll always see new exhibits. We're always changing the exhibits around. And sometimes here in the lobby, some of our smaller exhibits will focus on some of the holidays that go around at various times of the year. Now, it's February this month, and we have an exhibit about Valentine's Day and some of the different customs of Valentine's Day. One of the standard ones, of course, is giving chocolates, handing out different cards and that sort of thing. We also have a rather large artifact here at the museum that has a couple of records that were set on Valentine's Day in the past. Now we are here inside the Candlelight Wedding Chapel. Now the wedding chapel itself was built in 1966, but in 1981, on Valentine's Day, the wedding chapel set its first record. On that day, 150 couples were married in this chapel. That was a record that made the Los Angeles Times. Now you might look at this and say, how could you fit 150 couples into here? Well, they didn't. They would have somebody getting married here, but you would also have somebody waiting here, another couple waiting here. You'd have another couple waiting outside. And at that point in time, the chapel was actually sitting in the parking lot of a motel down on the strip. And so you'd have other couples waiting in the lobby of the motel. And so you'd have somebody waiting in the lobby here, or in the office here. They would call over as soon as the wedding was done. You would get done with your wedding, you would go out through the side door. Then the couple that was in the foyer here would come in, get set up, they would have their wedding. The couple outside would come into the foyer. The office would call over to the motel, send the next couple over, they'd be waiting outside, and it just set up a conveyor belt. 150 couples in 1981 got married on Valentine's Day. But that wasn't even the highest point in the history of this chapel. 8 years later, in 1989, on Valentine's Day, this chapel between 6 a.m. and midnight married 450 couples. If you can believe that, yes, 450 couples were married in this chapel. That's a record that still holds to this day. And so that you don't have to work out the numbers, it actually works out to about 2.5 minutes a wedding. That was all done, by the way, on that particular day by one minister, a nice young lady by the name of Dolly De Leon. She's still an active minister here in the Valley. Now, if you're thinking about coming out here and getting married, please don't. Unfortunately, because of the way that we had the building restored, we cannot allow anybody into this area. That's because of the certificate of occupancy we have on this building. This wall here, that is the farthest that we can allow people into the building. But it is preserved, it is here so that you can see it and see the history of this particular building. And this is part of the history of Clark County. Weddings are a big part of it. And of course, when you think of weddings and when you think of Valentine's Day, weddings are one of the things you tend to think about. So that is part of Valentine's Day, that's part of our history, something that you can come out and see here at the County Museum. So I hope that you will come out and see us. Remember, we are only open 7 days a week, 9 to 4:30. It is hard to find us open, but we do have 30 acres to see out here. We have 20 restored buildings. We have the ghost town, walking trails, nature areas. It is $2 to go through, but we do hope that you will come out and see us.